This is interesting. Given this question, it just begs another question. Would you ever work at HHS? Would you work at the FDA or the CDC? I think there'd be like a lot of people. I think there'd be like quite a groundswell of people who would want that, actually.
You know what it is? What's extremely sad is that when I look at what's happening to my friend, Dr. Casey Means, who's the Surgeon General nominee. This is a woman, Benny, I don't know how you could be more credentialed. Literally graduated top of her class at Stanford with honors, was president of her class. Has gotten so many academic achievements, I had to read them off of a list on the primetime news for News Nation. I mean, she's been an associate editor for some of the top medical journals. She's held research positions at NIH, NYU, Stanford, and ended up leaving her private practice because she felt that she was a part of a bigger problem and couldn't facilitate prevention and cure in a traditional role. She then goes on to write a best-selling book called Good Energy to help people reclaim their metabolic health and take agency, and start a company called Levels that allows people to make better food choices by having real-time data on how their food choices are impacting their blood sugar levels. They're calling her a health influencer. And on the right, they're pissed off because her dad wrote a book about a gay flamingo. I swear to God, I had to call her because I'm at war defending this woman in the political zeitgeist. And I was like, I ended up calling her brother, Callie Means, I'm sure you're familiar with. And I was like, Callie, what's the book about the gay flamingo? And he had to burst out laughing. He's like, okay, we had a friend of the family whose kid was coming out as gay. Many years back, my dad wrote a book about fitting in and accepting differences with the gay flamingo. There's nothing in there about transitioning kids, but the war on her on the right is that she's a radical, because she hasn't been vehement in an anti-vaccine stance, which is suicide, by the way, if you're going to go into politics and medicine. That she's, this crazy radical infiltrating the party. And then on the left, she's a health influencer who drinks raw milk and is a kook and a quack and not a real doctor because she intentionally placed her license on inactive. Wasn't removed, nothing like that. The way that they have gone after this woman on both sides, I don't think anybody wants to take that on. Not to mention I'm not an MD and I'm not a PhD. But you step into that role, any sort of leadership role, and you've got Newsweek telling the world that Kennedy eats dogs. Or you're Trump and you get shot in the head. I'm going to say it's a hard pass. What about you? You're an accomplished guy.
Yeah.
I mean, what about
the whole getting shot in the head thing? That's is the office really worth that? If that was actually on the list of prerequisites. But Bobby Kennedy gave us probably the single best, most memorable line during his confirmation hearing, which was not a guarantee at all, where he just gutted like a fish Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders for being frauds and taking all that pharma money, all that delicious pharma money. And boy, they're still reeling from that. If you look at any single thing that Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren posts, they get ratioed to this day, even 3 months out. Because Kennedy exposed them before the world for being such shills.
How about the fact?
I feel like you could have that moment, Jillian. That's all I'm saying. Is that I've as somebody who's watched your content, I have a feeling that you would be able to do that to the illustrious senators in your confirmation hearing.
I'm extremely grateful that you hold me in such high regard, but I would.
You could, and you'd love it.
Benny, honestly, anybody I talk to who is respectable, and I have the extreme luxury to get to talk to those kinds of people like yourself or Carolla or Dave Smith or Hannity, all these super cool people. And if I could place these people like chess players on the board, I'd put Carolla as governor of California. DeSantis steps down. I have Hannity run Florida. None of them want the gig. None of them want the job. And I just think it's such a filthy business that it does an excellent job of scaring people away from the space, because if you want to try to make a change, they're going to gut you literally and metaphorically. And then I look at people like yourself who has not yet run for office, unless I missed something, and the influence that you have in your role. And I wonder, in my own unique wheelhouse, can I make more of a difference? Watching people like yourself do it in yours. I mean, I turn to you for the news. My freaking teenagers turn to you for the news. My teenagers. It's wild to watch this phenomenon. I would love to know what you think is behind this. I don't know about you, but when I was 13, I was not into politics. I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old, a girl and a boy, that watch you and Charlie Kirk, and they like their Rogan, and they like their Sean Ryan, and then my girl will kind of venture off into some pop culture crap, and my boy will get a little bit more into, you know, the freaking guys like Andrew Bustamante and all that stuff. But they've got like you and Charlie Kirk for these kids. What is it, do you think?
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And make sure to let me know what guests you want to see on in the future.